15 years ago, a ship named St. Yushiro No. 1 sank during an accident when a bomb exploded on deck after avoiding an iceberg. Shortly before that, the captain, Takeo Okita, was knocked out with a drug in his coffee. His first officer, Wataru Kaido, was suspected of the crime, but never convicted as the evidence sank. Everyone escaped in time except for a sailor, who discovered Okita's drugged and drowned with the sinking ship. Half a month before the story begins, Hideo Yashiro, an architect working for the Yashiro Group, suffers a fatal heart attack while driving and crashes off a cliff with his car. Conan and friends are invited by Sonoko to join her in a cruise from Tokyo to Aizu on the luxury liner St. Aphrodite, belonging to the Yashiro Group. Shortly before the ship leaves, Hideo Yashiro's body is found and the police determine he died from a heart attack. Ran has won a prestigious karate tournament and the detective boys decide to congratulate her by making a medal out of seashells for her. Professor Agasa shows Conan his newest invention before dinner, cufflink speakers. Kagoro believes them to be ordinary cufflinks, grabs them out of Conan's hands, and declares he should wear them with his suit because cufflinks only belong to elegant men like Kagoro. Dinner takes a long time to arrive and Conan cleans his glasses when Hironari Kusaka, a scriptwriter, accidentally bumps into him. Kusaka recognizes Kagoro and greets him excitedly. He also introduces Kagoro to Minako Akiyoshi, the lead designer working on the ship. Akiyoshi talks about the ship and tells everyone that Hideo Yashiro, who was found dead a few days earlier, was married to the current company president, Taki Yashiro. The next day, the detective boys, Ran, and Sonoko decide to play hide and seek on the cruise ship. The kids sneak Ran's medal into her jacket, wanting to surprise her. Sonoko and Hibara are picked as chasers. While hiding, Conan finds a volleyball on deck and plays with it, kicking it against the nearest wall and dribbling. Hibara finds him easily. Eventually, everyone is found except for Ran. Conan reminisces that Ran was always very good at hide and seek. At the same time, Kusaka calls Akiyoshi, telling her he has finished his newest script and that he will now read it to her, instructing Akiyoshi to only comment when he is finished. He puts a tape recorder near the phone receiver, presses play, puts on a jacket and sneaks out of the room into CEO Yashiro's room, where he stabs her with a knife. Intaro Yashiro, Taki's father, received a threatening note earlier that same morning, saying, "I know what you did 15 years ago, meet me in the basement marina at 10:15. Sonoko looks for Ran in the ship's basement when someone suddenly knocks her unconscious. At 10:15, Kusaka reveals himself to Intaro Yashiro in the marina and attacks him. Intaro fights back and seemingly overpowers Kusaka. Kusaka knocks Intaro out and opens the basement door, wanting to throw his body into the ocean. Intaro comes to and tries to choke Kusaka, who defends himself by stabbing Intaro fatally into the chest and throwing him out of the ship. Sonoko wakes up in a box and feels icy cold. With a detective boy's badge one of the children gave her before their game began, she contacts the others and cries for help. Conan tries to locate her using his glasses, but the sensors don't work after his glasses were knocked off by Kusaka the previous evening. They find Sonoko just in time and help her to the ship's doctor. Inspector Magyar, CSI Officer Tome and his assistant, Takagi, and Shiratori land on the cruise ship with a helicopter, having been alerted of Taki's murder and Intaro's disappearance. Kusaka quickly becomes their main suspect as his father died when the St. Yashiro 1 sank 15 years earlier, but the police discover he has an alibi, having been on the phone with Akiyoshi when the murder occurred. Conan investigates Kusaka's room and discovers a tape recorder, but the tape it contains is blank. The police theorize that Hideo Yashiro's death was linked with the two cases on the ship. Later that day, the passengers are invited to a gala evening. News of the murder investigation makes the rounds and the guests start to panic. Kagoro calms everyone by announcing he has solved the case, accusing Minako Akiyoshi of killing Taki and possibly also Intaro Yashiro. Conan, who thinks Kagoro is wrong, asks Agasa's help. He mimics Agasa's voice with his bowtie while Agasa lip-syncs. Conan/Agasa announce Kusaka is the actual murderer and that he has dried blood on his hair, which belonged to Taki Yashiro. Kusaka shouts that he has planted bombs on the ship, wanting to take revenge for his father, and escapes on a motorboat. Conan chases after him with the other boat and notices the detective boys have snuck onto the boat as well. Conan stuns Kusaka and, at the same time, a bomb detonates on the ship. The ship is evacuated. Rand stays behind trying to retrieve the medal the detective boys made for her, which she dropped in her hiding spot. She slips, hits her head on the wall, and falls unconscious. Looking back at the case, Conan realizes Kusaka's alibi was too simple and figures out who the actual murderer was. Conan reconsiders the facts of the case and remembers something odd he heard from Kogoro, who saw the culprit leaving Taki's room, and how this fits together with the attack on Sonoko. He realizes he has been tricked by the actual murderer, leaves the detective boys with the police, and takes the motorboat back to the ship. Minako Akiyoshi has backed Captain Kaido into a corner and threatens him with a spear gun. She forces him to the bow of the ship and reveals herself to be the daughter of Takeo Okita, captain of the Yashiro One who was killed by Kaido. Minako announces she will now take revenge for her father. A month earlier, Kusaka visited Akiyoshi, seemingly to interview her about the new luxury liner. Kusaka seemed to be more interested in the Yashiro family than the ship, so Minako became suspicious and secretly looked at the notes on Kusaka's computer. She realized Kusaka was investigating the Yashiramaru disaster and had discovered something shocking about the ship that seemingly crashed into an iceberg. The ship had been designed by Hidito Yashiro, and Minako, who had worked with him on the Saint Aphrodite, decided to investigate further and invited Hidito for a drink. As Hidito got drunk, he confessed that the incident was part of an attempt to commit insurance fraud. Hidito designed the ship so it would deliberately sink and obscure the fact Kaido killed Minako's father and was responsible for the death of Kusaka's father, who drowned in the shipwreck. Minako decided to take revenge on everyone responsible for her father's death and to use Kusaka as a cheap scapegoat. As she prepares to kill Kaido, Kogoro appears and stops her, announcing he has disabled the gun. Angry, she kicks it away. Kogoro tells her, correctly, that she really was the murderer and explains how he came to his conclusion. Conan, on his way to the boat, listens in through the cufflink speakers Kogoro doesn't know he's wearing. Minako knew Kusaka was planning to murder the Yashiro family and Kaido, so she used his plan for her own advantage. Kusaka's plan carried a risk that he could be caught before finishing everyone off, so Minako decided to get rid of Hidito Yashiro first of all. The police correctly deduced that she planted a soda can filled with firecrackers and a stun grenade in Hidito's car, scaring him into a heart attack, leading him to crash off the cliff and dying as the grenade went off. She planted the grenade to obscure the facts of the case. She pretended to go along with Kusaka's fake phone call alibi, left the phone receiver on her bed, went to Taki's room and drugged her. After hiding the unconscious Taki in her bathroom, Minako disguised herself as Taki and waited for Kusaka. She pretended to fight him and had him stab her, wearing a pouch of fake blood to fool him into thinking he had committed the murder. Kusaka had no time to look twice, because he had called in Taro to the marina, so Minako's trick worked. After he had left, Minako wiped the fake blood off the floor, dragged Taki out of the bathroom and stabbed her exactly in the same spot Kusaka had attacked Minako, killing her. On her way to the marina, Minako, wearing a jacket with a hood, ran into Kogoro. In the narrow corridor, she instinctively turned her chest away from him as she passed, which, in hindsight, made Kogoro realize the culprit could be a woman. At the marina, Minako saw Intaro choking Kusaka, attacked Intaro from behind, stabbed him with her knife and disappeared. Kusaka thought he had killed Intaro himself and never noticed Minako. Minako had always planned to kill Kaido last once the ship had begun to sink, meaning for him to face the same end as her father did. Kusaka was a cheap scapegoat for Minako, and she used him not just because of his own murder plans, but also because he had included a captain in his script who reminded Minako of her father, mocking his fictional captain for being old-fashioned and dying with the ship as it sank. Minako concedes, telling Kogoro she will turn herself in, but launches herself at him. Kogoro defends himself, saying he will never hit a woman, and she starts punching him. Conan arrives and, surprised, Kogoro catches Minako unawares in a judo throw, arresting her. Minako ruefully smiles and says she was unlucky that such a great detective was on the same ship as her, asking if Kagoro suspected her from the beginning. Kagoro answers he actually kept searching for proof Minako was innocent because she reminded him so much of the woman he loved, his wife Eri. Captain Kaido handcuffs Akiyoshi and takes her to the police on the motorboat. As Kaguru and Conan began to evacuate, they found out that Ran was missing. They find her under the deck of the boat with the help of a fire axe and take her to the front end of the ship, which is about to sink. A rescue helicopter arrives and a man lowers himself down, tying Conan, Kagoro and Ran to him and hauls all four of them back up to the helicopter. Conan nearly falls off, but is saved by grabbing Ran's present from the detective boys. At the post-credits, Conan explained he knew where Ran was because when he kicked the volleyball, Ran said she heard a soccer ball, meaning she was in a place with a tough wall. The detective kids come and told Ran they made a better gold medal for her and put it on her. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. Remember to like, share and subscribe to support our channel, and don't forget to press the notification bell button to not miss upcoming interesting videos. See you later.